It's preparing the live stream now. Setting up the meeting for YouTube Live. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
It's preparing the live stream now. All right, go ahead, Nate.
Welcome, y'all. This is a very special episode 29 of the On the Hunt podcast show. We are coming to you live. Do you hear me? Do I got to put it in my rock voice? Live from YouTube to your Facebook. It is the On the Hunt podcast show. I got my two guys with me. We missing one, but I got Easy E with me. I got the number one fan, man. E, how you feeling?
I am feeling very good, hoping that all the technologies are working right. We've never really done this before on YouTube Live, so I'm hoping everything goes according to plan. And if it doesn't, that's okay, because we're actually doing this as a test for another live stream, which we'll talk about in a moment. First though, we got to go to the number one Lions fan, Mr. Bobby Bless. Bobby, how's it going?
Man, it's going good. This Sunday though, I could have seen the game, man. For real, man. They need to do something about that. Nothing against the other guys in the other leagues. It just ain't like ain't nothing like a Detroit Lions Sunday. So I'm missing football for real, brother. But hey, I got y'all to help get me through, right though?
There we go. Tag team back again. Checks in the Rex to the left again. Son. Eli, let's go, brother. Let's get us rolling.
Yeah, so we have got a Facebook live stream, or actually YouTube live stream, coming up on the 27th of April. And if you're a football fan, you know the significance of that date. Of course, that is going to be when the NFL draft is. So we're hoping that you will tune in with us. We are doing a live show for you, and that is going to be taking place night one of the draft, April 27th, starting at 7:30 p.m. And we're going to keep going with you until the end of the night. And we're hoping that we are able to cover every little thing that happens during the draft, but we're also hoping to have a fun time with you. So many of the NFL draft streams that are out there are kind of, for lack of a better term, dry and boring. And we don't want to be that way. So we're actually going to be giving away stuff during our live stream. And Nate can actually tell you a little bit more about that. Nate, what are we giving away, and how frequent will we be giving away stuff during this show?
Hey, listen, man, we ain't going to say that a lot of our stuff, we haven't copyrighted, but it seems to end up on other people's shows, a lot of our stuff, we see this. But what they will not do, they will not copy this. So, if everybody know, when we got to 350 subscribers, we gave away a brand new Apple Watch. Of course, I won that. So what I decided to do, we gonna recycle that. We gonna throw that back into the pot. So whoever gets that first pick right at number 6, if you are the only one who gets that back, guess what? You got a brand new Apple Watch. Now, if there's multiple people that have the same answer, y'all know where we going. We hitting that wheel of choice.
That's right.
Then after that, we're going to do, for pick number 18, throw a little modest $25 out. We've got T-shirts being given away, coming from the On the Hunt podcast show. We got a couple of monetary gifts coming from the On the Hunt podcast show. So dog, only thing they got to do is check in and be live with us. Literally, be live.
That's right. And we are going YouTube Live tonight. So if we get folks who are tuning in from our own subscribers, or if you found this link on Facebook, I believe Bobby was going to try to share that over. If you find us, comment.
It's on there, brother.
Welcome.
Be a part of it. So
welcome.
And I will let everybody know that there is a little bit of a lag, because I have the live stream going on my other computer over here, and I'm seeing that Nate is still talking about the contest, which obviously he's not right now. So there might be a little bit of a lag, but as soon as I see your comment show up, I will make sure to let the guys know what your comment says, and we'll get it going. Again, this is all in an effort to make sure that live stream on draft night goes perfect for you. Okay. So that's what we're trying to do. But right now, we want to shift focus. We want to start talking a little bit about Lions news. Okay. And obviously, there was a big thing that happened just a couple of days ago. Jeff Okudah, he is going to be playing for a different team, the Atlanta Falcons, after he was traded for a fifth-round pick. I think Nate just told you how he feels about the guy, but Nate, we'll start with you. You're our resident defensive coordinator. Jeff Okudah, he is gone. And how do you feel about this? Are you devastated? Oh, man.
Well, how about my Miss America?
Oh, come on now. That's messed up. That's messed up.
Listen, I never wanted Jeff Okudah drafted in the first place because everybody who knows me, I'm very big on technique. He had some very, very bad technique, very handsy, very grabby. So, you know, to his credit though, I remember a post I put up on Facebook and I said, it doesn't matter what corner we draft or if we get one in free agency. If you're coming to the Lions and we have Matt Patricia as your coach, you are going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I was correct, which I knew again. But you know, it was a very bad thing. Injuries, bad technique. They put him in every position to lose.
Right.
He bounced back last year. He did have a decent year. Yes, he did. I'm not going to put a knock on him. He did have a decent year. But against the big name receivers, he did not show up. I'm not sure if a lot of people even know this, but from week 9 to week 18, he was actually relegated to the third corner. He was behind Mike Hughes and Jerry Jacobs in snaps, and Mike Hughes actually took his starting spot during that time. You know, so, and then he also made it well known that he wanted to play for Atlanta. So if I know I'm not going to re-sign you, guess what? I'm going to do my best to get you where you say you would like to go and get me something in return, because I could just lose you for nothing.
Right.
So guess what? There you go. Nice business transaction. You know, hey, I win, you lose. And if anybody who's watched the Lions, pick number 187 in Brad Holmes' hand is very dangerous.
Bless, your thoughts on Jeff Okudah leaving?
I was surprised, but I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, you know, because and you might like this, Elijah. I can't remember episode because we at 29 now.
29.
But Elijah, the great guru that always drinks shit, he said, what are we gonna do with Jeff Okudah? Do you remember that conversation by chance?
I do.
Yeah, I think you got your answer, brother. Kind of surprised. It was the fifth rounder that really got rid of him, right?
Yeah.
So I sit back and ask myself, like, damn, they really didn't really want him. So it comes down to the fact that I think he never reached his full potential because, like Nate said, he ain't had what in front of him, and he also had that bad juju with Patricia, what they call it, the Quintricia little regime. I remember that year. Isn't that the year I thought we should have got the brown kid that went to Carolina? Is that what's his name? He's from Auburn.
Yes, it is. Same
Derek Brown.
Talking about that draft with Derek Brown and Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I thought we should have got.
Isaiah Simmons,
Brown.
AJ Terrell, CJ Henderson. Yeah, all those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we should have went on ahead and got him, of course. So, but then he tore his Achilles, and he got some bad film out there, man. Because I seen a bunch of times where he just looking like I'd never say good riddance because I actually thought he was a good kid. Got a bad deal, but because we were 2 or 3 that year.
3.
I think it was 2.
3.
Yeah, I think that's kind of high to pick a corner anytime.
Right, especially him.
Yeah. Stop. So yeah. So you know what I mean. I don't want to say good riddance. I wish the best to him, best of luck to him, because he did seem like a guy that cared. So I think he well on his way, and if he even happier in Atlanta, he'll probably can save his career. Because to be honest, 5th-round pick is pretty close to top the league, ain't it? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's one of those you have to look at what you got for a future Hall of Famer and Jalen Ramsey. They only got a 3rd-round pick for him. So that's just telling you what the market is. And we all know he's nowhere near close to Jalen Ramsey. So what we got for a 5th is probably about right. It was either that or nothing.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on it, he's 24 years old. And I think that the Lions kind of did him a favor because if he's not in your plans for the future, let him go. Let him go and potentially be the player that he needs to be for his family, so that he is set up for success later on in life. Don't keep him hanging on if he's not what you really want. Because we see NFL teams do that all the time, where they draft a guy really high and then they kind of put him on the bench, and then you don't really hear from him, and they're not given that opportunity to go out there and reclaim greatness. So I'm happy the Lions did that for him. I think that was a smart move on their part. But if I'm being honest, I don't think he was going to sign here anyway. And that was the conversation that Bobby was alluding to on previous episodes, where I was saying, hey, Jeff Okudah, he's coming up on a contract, situation here. And have the Lions seen enough to warrant contract talks? Well, obviously we have our answer, and no, he did not. The other thing that I wanted to kind of bring up here, obviously he goes to the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know how competitive Atlanta's going to be in the next couple of years, but I do know that, obviously Atlanta, they went out and they got the Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator because of what he did with Ryan Tannehill. And if you remember a few years ago when the Titans were having success, what did they have? They had a running game and they had a pretty good defense. So maybe that's what they're trying to do in Atlanta, is be more of a run downhill defensive ball team. And if that's what they're trying to do, hey, maybe Jeff Okudah can be the face of that. And, like any player that leaves the Lions, I always wish them the very best until they play us. And then once they play us, it's a different story. But anyway, I also wanted to bring up something that Bobby actually alluded to a few days ago in our On the Hunt chat, which I know you guys can't see at home. And there's good reason why you can't see that chat, because there's a lot of discussions that happen in there. But
Elijah be cussing.
Come on now.
That's what
I don't ever cuss. Anyway, Brother Bless was talking about how there's been such a change in our secondary. And Bobby, I think you had said there's 2 guys left from last year's secondary.
Well, that was contributors.
Right.
Of course, it's guys like Tracy Walker that didn't play due to injury, and there was another guy I can't really think of. Let me go to my cheat sheet in a second. Just give me 1 second, because I was still trying to tag our group.
Okay, no worries, my friend. No worries. Again,
yeah, man. But this is real life live stuff, right, Big Dog?
Yes. And while you're looking that up, let me just take a moment.
I got you. I'm still here, and that is Melifon Wu and Jerry Jacobs.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, see, that the defensive coordinator.
Hey, look, I pop in and out like a jack in the box.
Yeah, hey, you did. Hey, you did everything to Okudah except for Uncle Phil and Jazzy Jets about the door. What you just said, though, but.
Hey, what about the Charlie Chaplin or the Sandman from the Apollo?
Oh yeah, man,
that's way before my time. That's way before. See, I was with you with the Will Smith comment, but that other one, I don't know who that is. Anyway.
Yeah, we got to stick to mid-90s.
No, we got to stick. You got to start at 2005. Remember, he was born in 03.
No, 93. 93.
Oh, my bad.
I'm a 96.
He said 03.
I'm not a part of this new generation. No, don't you loop me in with them. Anyway,
okay.
Before we keep moving on this show here, that again, it's a little bit of everything tonight. Nate's cooking dinner. We got Bobby trying to look things up on the fly. I'm over here trying to do 3 things at once. I'm trying to look at the guys and look at the comments, and we're just having a good time. Okay. So, hey, if you are with us right now, though, leave us a comment so that we know that you're here. I know there's a couple of people watching. Leave us a comment so that we know that you're able to hear us. That's kind of important. Otherwise, if you can't hear us at all, we need to know that before we try to do a big draft show coming up here in a few weeks. So, but
It's a test run.
I did watch a little bit on my phone and I could hear Nate. So that's a good sign. But we are going to be going YouTube live for the NFL draft. We got prizes to give away. That'll be happening on April 27th at 7:30 p.m. Tune in right here on the YouTube channel. And again, we're going to be giving away prizes that night. Give you more details on that. We also have a Facebook event too on our On the Hunt Facebook page, which you're more than welcome to go check that out. Let us know that you're coming. I know there was a bunch of people already who said that they were going to the event, so thank you for that. There was also a lot of people who said they were interested, and we have not yet posted the prizes yet that we were telling you about a little bit ago. So I feel like once we do that, there's going to be a lot of people switching from interested to definitely going. So hopefully you'll be a part of it. And we're hoping to maybe do all of our episodes like this. If you guys like this type of format, I did notice one thing that I wish I could change, and maybe somebody out there in YouTube land knows how to fix it. But usually I like to do different camera angles where I'll spotlight me or spotlight Bobby or spotlight Nate or spotlight two guys talking. And it's not picking up on that for some reason on the YouTube live. So right now I just have all three of us there. So we've got Nate with his cloak of invisibility. We got Bobby below me, and I'm up here next to Nate. So
I'm okay with it though.
He's back. He's back. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get into some draft talk because obviously we're promoting the live stream coming up for the draft. We got a lot of players to talk about, and we're gonna call this segment 6 or 18. And what we're trying to figure out here is what do we all think about some of these prospects and the possibility of maybe drafting them at 6 or 18 or somewhere else. Okay, that's what we're trying to figure out. So we're going to start things off with Bobby Bless, who's got a prospect for all of us to talk about. Bobby, who's caught your interest and who should we start talking about?
I'm going to be honest with you, brother. Bijan Robinson, I'm sorry. Bijan Robinson. Our guy, me and Nate, if everybody know when it comes to this draft stuff, me and Nate, we always tell us, don't listen to Mel Kiper. Don't listen to Todd McShay. So Nate, they got me. I listened to him on this one. So just hear me out because I already know you're gonna be like, hey. But no, Bijan Robinson, I think would be a great selection at the 16. No, we got 16. We got 6 or 18.
No, we got 6 and 18.
6 and 18.
Okay, 6 and 18. So he'll be a great pick for 18. As you know, you don't pick a running back high no more. That'd be a waste of time. You really just throwing money in the air. So, but I think Bijan Robinson would be an instant impact performer because when I'm judging these first round picks, I definitely want a guy that's going to immediately change the way the team is on his side of the ball, similar to a Penei Sewell. I like to call him Sewell, or even my guy Hutch. You know what I mean? Instant performers. Even though he kind of started off slow, but I could always tell he was going to get there. So his effort shows a lot. Even with Williams, when he got out there, when he got out there, he was definitely instant impact. So I think with being that we got 2 first-round picks, I want a playmaker on defense and playmaker on offense. I don't know who's going to be first or second as far as what we pick, but Bijan Robinson is going to bring a couple things to the table that Montgomery, even though he's a great running back, it's certain things Montgomery not going to catch that ball like Mr. Robinson going to catch that ball, and he's more of a home run guy, nothing against Montgomery. And then you also know this was probably last year, to be honest with you. Running backs not getting contracts. So we need a guy that be able, and as soon as he out there, boom, he's gonna be out there making plays. And we want a guy that's quick to catch on. So the running back position, believe it or not, is probably one of the quickest to catch on, as they say. I don't know. I ain't no damn running back, but that's what they say. So Bijan Robinson, I won't say he got home run speed because he ain't like a real burner, but looking at his highlights, he ain't getting caught from behind. So I'm gonna say he's fast. So that's what I'm looking for in that kind of kid. Elijah, what's your thoughts on the Robinson kid? I know you got something on him.
So for me, I am not so much a Bijan Robinson fan, and it's got nothing to do with him as a person. It's just
Right.
I like Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs can do everything that Bijan can do. And this is where Nate's gonna pop back into frame real quick.
Okay.
But I feel like Jahmyr can do everything that Bijan can do, and Jahmyr has had less reps to do it in college, which means he's got less
Miles.
yeah, less miles if you want to,
Yeah.
talk about him like he's a vehicle. That certainly makes sense. But for me, I think Jahmyr will be there in the second round, most likely. So I would wait till the second round to pick the running back. But I do agree with one thing you said, which is this is probably going to be DeAndre Swift's last season with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I've been saying that since last year because your greatest ability is availability, as Nate will tell you. And I've actually heard other people start saying that all of a sudden, which I think
I told you we got to start copywriting, dog. I'm telling you.
But for me, like I said, I like Gibbs. I'm a Gibbs guy. I think you can find Gibbs in the second round. But I would not be upset if the Lions drafted Bijan 18 overall. I would also not be upset if they drafted him 6 overall because I trust Brad Holmes to make the right decision. And, there's been a couple of times where he's picked players, even in the only 2 seasons that he's been here in Detroit, where I went, oh, I don't know if that's the right pick. And then I turned out to be flat wrong. So for me, I'm going to trust whatever Brad Holmes decides to do. If he thinks that Bijan Robinson is that, and I hate to say the term because everyone else uses this way too much, but if they think he's that once in a generation player, go get him before somebody else does. And then you're sitting there watching him in a different jersey, whoop your ass for the next 10 years. So that's just my thoughts on it. But I do know that a lot of GMs nowadays, they don't draft running backs high. I think Bijan, again, I didn't watch too many Texas games. The one Texas game I did watch was Alabama, Texas. And in that game, I thought Jahmyr looked better than Bijan did. Nate, I'm going to toss it over to you because you know a lot more about this kid. What do you think?
Well,
for 18, or do you agree with me that second round he'll probably be there?
No.
Okay.
Bijan is going to go top 10.
Top 10. All right.
Yes. Bijan is going to go top 10. Just because he truly is one of those generational guys. Like if you look at if these guys could go back, Nick Chubb would have went top 10. Derrick Henry would have went top 10.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, all guys would have went top 10. Like Bijan he's not as strong or as physically gifted as a Derrick Henry, but you're talking about Dalvin Cook burst, Christian McCaffrey type hands. You're looking at the power of, pre-injury Todd Gurley, where he runs exceptionally hard and he's elusive. One of the things that Jerome Bettis talked about when he came out of college, actually his last year of college, and they told him, how about avoiding the hit or two? You don't, just because you're powerful, don't mean you got to try to run over every guy and take a hit.
Right.
Learn how to avoid some hits, which Bijan does very well. He does not take hits straight on. He's very shifty, but he's got the power. He's got the burst. He is a very scary back. Now, when you talk about him,
he got good hands too. Good hands.
Oh, he got damn good hands. And Jahmyr Gibbs as well. But you have to look at it like this. Jahmyr Gibbs was at Alabama, where Alabama always has a staple of guys. Alabama always has a top-notch offensive line. Then he left there, went to a smaller school. Competition's not as tough as what Texas deals with is what Bama does. So yeah, he had the production, but was the talent the same that he was going against?
So with Jahmyr Gibbs, because I just want to make sure we're talking about the same player, because there's so many players out there.
Oh yeah, we talking about the same guy.
Jahmyr Gibbs started.
Oh, here it go. Here it go.
We know he started at Bama, but I'm talking about.
No. He did. Jahmyr Gibbs started at Georgia Tech. He played.
Wait.
2 years at Georgia Tech in the ACC. Then he went to the SEC and the Georgia Tech squad. And I'll just throw this in there real quick because
I had it backwards. You're right.
Georgia Tech, he was the save us Jahmyr Gibbs guy. Like anything he could possibly do to get on the field, they wanted him on the field. Whether it was catching passes, kick return, punt return, getting water, whatever it was, he was that guy.
Yeah.
He got sick of being that guy. So he said, I want to go to the SEC and see what I can do over here. And he went to Alabama and still had a pretty good season. So we went from the ACC to the SEC, not that much of a difference, my opinion, talent-wise between the ACC and the SEC. I just want to make sure people know that in case they don't know a ton about Jahmyr Gibbs. But everything that Nate said about Bijan, I'm not going to dispute that because, again, I don't know much about Bijan Robinson, but I wouldn't be disappointed if we end up with either one of those guys, which is what I've kind of been saying these last couple months.
Yeah, I think we just nothing. I love the guys we got. I think we done feel a lot. 2 years ago, we ain't had. You couldn't have told me the guys we have now and the way I've seen them perform that we was gonna have this. You know what I mean? I remember a lot of years people say we lack talent at receiver for certain reasons, whatever. But with St. Brown, Williams, and that's the reason why they didn't overpay for DJ Shark. We need. I think we're in a position, like I was talking in that same group chat earlier, like you was talking about. I asked the question: are we in the position to start taking best players available? Did we fill in enough holes? And I think that the offense need one more playmaker, particularly coming in and out of the backfield. And of course, the defense needed maybe 2 or 3 more, but I think the offense is fine-tuned, and I think it's ready to make an even bigger leap from being top 10 to top 3. I mean top 3. You can debate if they were top 10 or top. You can debate their top 10, but the way we put up points, I think we can add one more piece to that, and that just give Jared Goff and Ben Johnson more time to create stuff. Because Ben Johnson, you want to give him all the chess pieces he got. Because, to be honest, we ain't about to have this guy this long. So let's give him what he needs. Because the better he do, the more likely he leaving. So
last tidbit on Bijan that I wanted to throw in here, and hopefully this doesn't take us too far off the rails, but I'm sure the guys.
Oh Lord, here you go.
I'm sure the guys will agree with me on this. So I've been a Lions fan since 2007. Which is obviously that makes me the baby of the group because these guys have been Lions fans a lot longer than that. But for me, I have never seen us, and I was thinking about it while Bobby was talking, I have never seen us draft a running back who turns around and doesn't have issues, A, being compared to Barry Sanders, because everybody just automatically assumes we draft a running back, he's obviously going to be Barry. But that's a lot of pressure on them right out the gate. But I've also never seen a running back that we have drafted not have injury problems or not have issues performance-wise on the field. Because I'm thinking back and I'm going, okay, Kevin Smith out of Central Florida. He had a good rookie.
No, he had like 500 carries in college. That was dumb.
But I'm just saying, Kevin Smith, he had a good rookie season. Then he was banged up for the rest of his career. You look at Mikel LaShore, you look at Javid Best. Javid Best, that's the biggest to me what if, because if he would have been able to not have concussions, which is not anything he can control, but if he would have not had those injuries, man, because I still remember the 88-yard touchdown run on Monday Night Football
against the Bears.
That was sweet as shit.
Bears.
That was
against the Bears.
And that
my guy was Kevin Jones.
I was just about to say that. Do you remember the Virginia Tech dude? I was just about to say
Kevin Jones. That was my guy.
He was cool.
And then you had Amir Abdullah, who in Nebraska had like every single
was whack
in the world.
No, he had 20
whack.
fumbles. He had 20
I know.
fumbles from high school to college, and then like his first 3 years in the NFL, dude had 20 fumbles.
I put Theo Riddick over him.
And then, but like I said, when we go out in free agency, though, it seems like we end up getting decent running backs. We had Reggie Bush there for a spin, and he did okay. And then you had Joique Bell, who technically was a free agent. He was actually a security guard at Wayne State, and that worked out for a little bit.
What up, cuz?
I like Bell.
And of course, you had Jamal Williams from the Packers, but it just seems like for whatever reason, we're an organization that when it comes to running backs,
James Stewart is the best free agent running back.
Okay.
And he was from the Jags, like right? Remember, he was from the Jags, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was from the Jags.
Elijah, you was a baby. You was a baby.
That Jags team went to the playoffs. They had Mark Brunell. They had Tony Baselli, Stewart, Keenan McCardell.
Yeah.
Who was the other wide receiver? Jimmy Smith.
Yep. So just to put that in perspective, Baselli actually came to my elementary school when I was living in Florida and gave us a poster and signed it. I didn't know who he was at the time, and I wish I would have kept that poster.
Hell yeah, dude.
That just kind of puts it in perspective how young I am compared to the other two guys on the screen. I'm just saying. Shots fired. We do have some other players to go over here. We're going to switch over to wide receiver position. Now, you already know we got Amon-Ra St. Brown. We've got I'm trying to remember the other kid's name. He's going to be really great this year. I just forgot. I just completely blanked.
Jameson Williams?
Yes.
Jameson Williams?
Thank you. I appreciate that. But
man, how you forget
we had another wide receiver.
Too bad we live and you can't edit that out.
Hey, I never edit out my mistakes. But anyway, Quentin Johnston, and I got to remember it's Johnston, not Johnson. At a TCU, 6'4", 193 pounds. Add him. That's what it's saying over here, but maybe it's went up since they posted this.
He's like 215.
Okay, perfect. So what do we think about
against
him?
Michigan? He was 215.
What do we think about him, and where do we see him going? 6 or 18, or where else?
I'll start it off.
I got him at 18.
I just looked up his bio, and Nate was actually was right. 215. This dude is amazing, man. That's crazy as hell. But shoot, I don't like drafting receivers that low. I mean that high. So if we was to get him, it would be at 18 or whatever we draft Nate. So that's second round. So. But he is good, you know what I'm saying? 1,000 yards, 60 receptions, and TCU got a good steady offense. I can't say that. But I like my receivers around like 215, 220 area anyway, because no matter how tall you is or how tall you are or how much you can run routes and stuff, it's gonna come a time where you gotta have some body. You gotta have some body in your man.
Hey, you know what they call it?
I can't see you doing that at 190 and 200.
This is a man's world.
Yeah,
this
so
is a man's
215.
world.
He definitely passed, and you know what I mean. He stood out. Who did TCU play? They played.
Oh Lord, here you go.
Okay, but I ain't gonna do. Hey, I love you, Nate. I ain't gonna do you like that. But he stood out. He stood out in this one game around Christmas time and the New Year and shit. So, I'm with it. 18. How about you, Nate? Since I set it up for you anyway.
Yeah, 18 because I don't think he's going to be the first wide receiver taken. I think that's going to be Jordan Addison.
Okay,
he's going to be the first one. Then I think that dude from Buttfuck, Ohio, Jackson.
Oh Lord.
Jackson something's probably going to be the second one. And then I think it's going to be Quentin. But when I think about it, we've got one of the best slot receivers already in Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Right.
We've got the burner on the outside. Now you need that big physical 50-50 possession receiver that has the ability to take it for the distance. And that's him. Big hands, very big catch radius. Even for a guy that size, he is a very good route runner. You know, gets very good separation, knows how to use his body. He's what you would call a better version of a Kenny Galladay.
Okay.
You know, and when Kenny Galladay was here, he was pretty good. You know, too bad his head got big, and then now I think maybe 28 other punters have a better contract than he does. Like,
Oh, man.
so yeah, that's right. Sorry, Elijah. Look, I know it's bad, but I hear Elijah say, "Oh man," hey, look at.
Put it this way. Awarie went to the Giants, and he will probably catch more passes in his contract than Kenny Galladay did.
Dog. Oh my God.
Kenny had
Or he gonna try to outrun the damn dude. You never know with that dude. Don't give him that credit. Don't give him that much
Dog.
credit, Elijah. I'm so
Listen,
glad
Please,
that was
don't get me
wrong.
started
Listen,
with that
if I'm
again.
playing capture the flag, I'm picking Awarie every time.
No,
Hey,
no, no,
hey,
no, no, no.
if you running 100, you can too.
If we're playing run by the flag, maybe I
Yeah.
would never forget the dude. I would never forget that dude on the damn kick return running right next to him. Like, dude, what are you doing?
He's probably having a full-blown conversation with him that we weren't privy to. Mic him up. Let's see what they were talking about. Hey,
Man,
where are you going for lunch after the game? Welcome to
Dog,
I'm
Bob.
scared of that. I'm scared of that. I don't need that full disclosure. Please don't. It'll probably be something stupid. So he'd be stupid boy again. Man, he should have been stupid boy of the year for real. Wasn't he stupid boy of the year?
I don't remember. But
Man.
let's get back to Quentin Johnston before we go too
Oh yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Nate, was that all you had on him?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like I say, I just see him. You can put him in the offense. Because Amon-Ra St. Brown, we know that teams are going to game plan and take him away. So he's going to see a lot of single, double highs because he's going to be in that middle. So he's going to be covered by a wide receiver and a linebacker or a safety. So, you know, you're going to have Jameson, who's going to be on one side to take the top off. Who's going to be on the other side that has the ability to win one-on-one, because that other guy is not going to get the top corner. He's not going to get the second best corner. He's going to get that floating third, fourth guy. So you need a guy that's going to be able to win that battle. And I can see him doing that very well. So, you know, Quentin Johnston, man, hey, at 18, I'll take him.
So I want to open up my remarks by taking us back a little bit. So back in the early 2000s, which is a time that a lot of people would like to forget when it comes to Detroit Lions history, Matt Millen was trying his damnedest to try to get as many wide receivers as he could to build the most potent offense in the NFL. He had Charles Rogers, he had Roy Williams, and one of his last draft picks was actually Calvin Johnson. But they were never really on the field all at the same time. You know, by the time Calvin really got his feet wet, Charles Rogers was already, you know, not a Lion anymore. Roy Williams was still there, but not for a very long period of time. So if we were to go out and draft Quentin Johnston, who is 6'4", and as Nate was saying, 215 pounds, to me, we would finally get to see what the early 2000s Lions were trying to do, of having three dangerous wide receivers out there where you can't possibly cover everybody. Because you would have the 6'4" Quentin Johnston. You would have the 6'1" Jameson Williams. See, I remembered his name that time. And you would also have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's not very tall either, but he's obviously proven to be a very, very good receiver for us. So I think that would be kind of interesting. And I'm not saying that's what Brad Holmes is thinking, because I doubt he's thinking about what Matt Millen did. But for me as a Lions fan, I'm going, man, Matt Millen is somewhere right now going, damn it, that's what I was trying to do. And he gets the benefit from it because, you know, and I will say just briefly, if you haven't checked it out yet, you should go watch the documentary they did on Matt Millen, where he talks about his time with the Lions, because it's actually a very good documentary. And you can tell the amount of regret he has with certain decisions he made. and how he kind of let other people influence him when maybe he wanted somebody else and chose the guy that the rest of the room wanted or whatever. Go watch that documentary. Obviously, we can't talk about it too much on here right now, but it is worth watching. It's a football life. But he also talks about Jamarcus Russell a little bit too, which is a very interesting story, which again, don't have time.
Yeah, because I'm so glad he didn't, man.
He tried to warn the Raiders and they didn't listen to him. Again, go watch the documentary. I can't get into all that right now, but as far as Quentin Johnston is concerned, let's get back to the player at hand. I do want to give you some stats for this guy in case you haven't been paying attention to him. He did play in the Big 12. So I'm going to take, or actually not the Big 12. It was a Mountain West, I believe it was. But I'm going to take all those games and I'm going to throw them away. Because the game that, to me, solidified him as a first-round wide receiver, and I'm not doing this to just pick on Nate, was against Michigan. And that, to me, was one of the best football games I've ever seen with horrible officiating. But anyway.
I tried, Nate. I tried to speak on it. I thought, he ripped a damn Band-Aid right the fuck back off.
But Quentin Johnston in that game had 6 receptions for 163 yards and a touchdown. And that, to me, again, because it never ceases to amaze me, a team that plays in the Mountain West, a team that plays in the Big 12, the constant knock on them, even in the Pac-12, they're not playing any defenses. That all the defenses in those leagues suck. And that's why you see so many, gaudy offensive stats. So that's why I'm saying throw all those away and look what he did against a Big 10 team. He did pretty good. So for me, I would be interested to see him get drafted. However, I haven't heard him really talked about at all. None of the major, sports sites who, do mock drafts for the Lions are talking about him. So it leads me to believe either A, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, which could be
that's a possibility.
Or B,
it might be true.
Or B, we're not picking him. So I would say probably 18 if we pick him at all. But again, we have seen before where we have been, mock draft to pick some guy and everybody agrees it's going to be that guy. And then when the card gets turned in, they all look at each other and say, hey, can we quickly go to commercial because we're embarrassed? So we'll see what happens. Yeah, exactly. But again, Quentin Johnston, I wouldn't be upset, but I think 18, probably the sweet spot for him. Let's move on to an offensive lineman. And you might be saying the best line in football. What need do we have for another offensive lineman? Nate, I'm like a waitress. I just caught you in the middle of eating. So I'm going to let you take this one, my friend. What should we know about O'Cyrus Torrence, Florida guard?
First of all, Penei Sewell, his whole career at Oregon, 0 sacks allowed. Frank Ragnow, whole career, Arkansas, 0 sacks allowed. O'Cyrus Torrence, whole career, Florida, 0 sacks allowed. And if people don't understand just how dominant of an offensive lineman he is, he messed up with Jalen Carter, single man-on-man blocking. Did not give up a sack, gave up 2 pressures, 1 game. Dude is big, he's nimble. He sort of reminds me of Quentin Nelson or Zach Martin. He is that good at this level. Okay. His hands, the speed, his feet, the technique, and he's a counter guy. He's like a boxer of an offensive lineman. He never like if a guy is getting him with a hand slap, he always thinks about the next snap on how he got beaten, how he had changed his hand placement, where he put his hands. Like, oh, okay, they think I'm going to keep aiming for their right shoulder. This time I'm just going to hit him in the breastplate. Like, it's so many different things, man. And a guy that big, that strong, that size, you want to talk about, we just got David Montgomery. and we're talking about possibility of a Bijan Robinson, and then you put arguably the best offensive lineman besides the kid out of Northwestern. I still think Osiris is better than him, but we were the second, third, we were top 3 offensive lines. I think we're right behind Philly. Philly did us, but you put him with Decker, Jonah, which I love his name, Jonah Jackson, Frank the Tank, who we used to call Ragdoll, who completely shut me and Bobby the hell up. And that guy, Panay Sewell, you put Osiris in between those guys, you're talking about a line that could possibly rival maybe the Dallas Cowboys from the 90s with a Nate
praise. That's high praise.
Listen, we have one hole in this big V dude who is the worst pass blocking player. Okay, I'm not even about to go there. Bobby already know I was about to go, but that's
he be ready to go in too. I'll just be quiet. Like go get him, Nate. I really ain't shit. I be instigating this shit, but that's well, you was ready though.
Yeah. So Elijah, you go ahead, man. What's your thoughts on it?
So I'll be honest with you. I really don't know much about this player, but because we got to fill time, I will do my best here. Okay. So back when my dad and I lived in Florida, my dad was a single dad. But back when we lived in Florida, one of the many jobs my dad had was as a person working for a lawn care company. Okay. Now stick with me here. I promise this will make sense. When my dad was teaching me, because I'd go along with him to cut grass at some of these hotels and things like that. When he was teaching me how to cut grass, what he told me to do was make sure that when you mow one line, that you start your next line with a little bit of overlap. That way it looks like there's no lanes whenever the lawn's all done. It looks like it's one cohesive thing. And as Nate was talking about it, as he was talking about Osiris, it kind of made me think about that story, because what the Lions have slowly done here is they have drafted guys in such a way that there's never going to be a moment in time where you have to pay every single one of them at the same time. There's a little bit of overlap between each of the offensive linemen we've drafted in the years that we've done it. And I think that's super smart, and that's super convenient for us, because there's a lot of other teams in this league where they don't do it like that, where they draft all their linemen right around the same time, and all those linemen come up for a fat contract right around the same time, and then they're sitting there stressing out, saying, how are we going to pay every single one of these guys? We don't have that problem. So if you add this offensive lineman now, and let's say you get him at number 6 overall, you're getting him on a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option. By the time Osiris comes up for his big fat contract, you've probably already re-signed Sewell, as Bobby likes to say. You've probably already signed Decker to another contract, and you've probably already signed Ragnow to another contract. So you really would have just a little bit of overlap, which makes things make sense. I hope that makes sense to everybody here. But like I said, that to me is smart how that's worked out in our favor. And I wouldn't have any issue with it if we ended up drafting Osiris, because I think if you do put him next to Sewell or Decker, however you want to situate that, as long as we can stay healthy, knock on wood, we're good.
Only thing I could see is a counter play, and you got Sewell and you got Osiris pulling to the left side of that line. Somebody about to get hurt.
Yeah, like my dad like to say, hey, you better have a gun, because he ain't gonna be able to do it. But Nate, I'm glad you said that, because like I said, I don't know much about them. I ain't watched Florida football. They get their ass whooped too much. So it was never no good. It wasn't no good game this year. But I'm looking at the guy. I say this. I like my linemen's mean. You know what I mean? A little nasty to him. So
Right.
I think he do got that going for him. And he got quick feet, like Nate said about that pulling. He light on his feet, so he big too. So and I can see him pulling like Panay. You know what I mean? So I'm a fan of it. I don't know, and just me trusting Brad Holmes. Whoever name he could put on that damn card, I probably end up trying to justify it anyway. But I do like I do like this mean ass guard though. I like him mean, man, because I can see him and Panay. Yeah, that's for real, man.
Hurt.
I will
imagine
say,
them coming to bounce you off the club, boy. It's over with.
I will say though, if they do pick Osiris, get ready, because it seems to me that these media outlets like CBS Sports and ESPN and all these other folks that give out draft grades, if you're drafting an offensive lineman with your first pick in the first round, they're gonna shit on you. They're gonna be like, "Oh, that was a safe pick. They didn't go out there and get a game changer."
Dude, they shit on us about Panay Swoosh.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. They did that with Panay. So if we go out there and get Osiris, the one thing that the three of us plus Reggie, when Reggie comes back, we're all going to have to sit there and remind people why this is a smart decision. If he
This is what we do.
Overall. I know, but I'm just saying, I wish it wasn't like that. I wish that fans would actually go out there and do some research before they get upset about something like this. Because again, I can see that being the number 6 overall pick and people throwing a fit over it, being like, we could have got a receiver or we could have got
like
this.
We did with Ragnar. I was mad. I was hot about Ragnar.
Right. Even
I was mad as fuck about Ragnar.
Right.
Like they said, shut the fuck. I got that little shut the fuck up. So, I'm okay with it, I guess. But
But I'm just saying, prepare yourself for that, because we're gonna have to probably educate more than we usually do if that is the number 6 overall pick. Now, real quick.
Okay, big dog. Go ahead.
Number 6 or number 18? How do y'all see that falling with him as a guard?
18. I don't want no guard that high.
Okay.
I'd rather have a receiver.
I see him at 18 because I think at 6, there's too much going on up there. I mean, for real, there's too much going on up there, dude. I'm not even gonna put that pressure. Like, I'm taking, if Carter's there, that's who I'm taking. I'm not taking Wilson though. I'll tell you that.
Wilson. Oh yeah, I seen that. Who said that? One of them Detroit Riders, or was that Mel Kiper? One of them dudes?
A whole bunch of them, but I'm not taking Tyreek Wilson, so it's okay. Go ahead, Elijah. On to the next one. Yes. Another one, like DJ Khaled said.
So we've got defensive lineman out of Clemson, Brian Brees. I'll start us off with this one. So one thing that surprises me is that Brian Brees at the beginning of last season, and I remember this game very vividly because it was a Georgia Tech Clemson game. It was one of the first games of the college football season. It seemed like Brian Brees was the guy that ESPN wanted everybody to know about. And then as the season went on, it got quieter and quieter and quieter. That worries me because that was supposed to be his season. He was the story they were ramming down our throat, and the story never arrived. I will say his stats at Clemson as a defensive lineman, just so I'm not just giving my opinion, but giving some facts as well. He had 4 sacks one season. Then in 2021, he only played 4 games, and he had 1.5.
He inside or outside? He inside or outside, though? See,
he's inside now, but for a period of time, they had him on the outside. Him and Miles Murphy. They had Miles Murphy on the inside first, and they kicked him to the outside and moved Brees side to the inside.
And then last season, he had 3.5 sacks. So again, for me, I don't know, man. I don't see him as number 6 at all. I don't really even know if I see him 18 or first round. I mean, I'm thinking he might be their second round or third round. Am I crazy? Like, talk to
Nah.
me.
No, it's very possible because again, the best ability is availability. And then when you're available, you have to have some type of production, not just a splash play here or there. Consistency. You know, even if you're not getting to the quarterback, even in the middle, you have to consistently push the pocket, take on double teams, all this stuff. Yes, he has all the physical gifts, but you're talking about the technique, you're talking about the mental capacity. I don't know on that guy. I don't know. If we were to trade back, maybe the end of the first round, truthfully, but I seen a couple of mocks that had us picking him. Once upon a time, they even had us picking him at 6, like maybe episode 9. Around that time, they had us picking him. You know, they had us picking him not at 6. I'm sorry, but as our first pick.
Right.
They had us taking Brian Brees. So, as we know, we see how things change overnight.
And before we toss it over to Bobby, you know, one thing that I know a lot of Clemson fans, if they happen to find this video, I'm sure they'll light us up for talking bad about their boy. But an excuse might come out and say, well, he was double teamed. Well, I'm sorry. Isn't that the whole fucking point? If he's going to go 6 overall.
Yeah, that's his job. That's his job.
Double team.
Yeah.
Right? Or am I wrong on that? Like, if you're picking a guy number 6, he better be able to beat a double team every once in a while. So I don't even want to see Clemson fans come on this video with that type of excuse, because get out of here with that bullshit, as Bobby Bless would say.
Yeah. But I don't know. Definitely not 6, but 6'5", 305. Shit, you sound like you're a bear that walk like people do. That's a big dude, man. I don't know.
Not a bear that walk like people.
Yeah, that's a big dude, man. I can't I mean, I don't know much about him, but if I see his big ass up there and put on one of them draft hats, I'ma believe. I don't know. That's kind of big, man. 6'5", 305. He put on the hat.
Mm-hmm.
He got the eye test for damn sure. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in all fairness, and I know you'll agree with this, Bobby Bless.
Yeah.
Jamarcus Russell looked pretty good in a Raiders hat on draft night.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
He didn't. He looked like
he looked god-awful on the football field.
He looked like a Winnebago in the Raiders hat.
I'm just saying, if draft photos won Super Bowls,
another thing too, Elijah, though.
Okay.
Honestly, and this is no bullshit. This ain't me just even being silly. Clemson do put him in the league, so I mean, he coming from a factory. So,
I'm just saying, if I'm picking him number 6, I'm just saying, if I'm picking him number 6, I want a Pro Bowler. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Like if you picked him up in the second round as like a contributor, okay, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
Hell, a second rounder isn't.
No, you're supposed to start up into the third round.
Right, a second round. That's a, middle of the pack. Hey, you're in the rotation.
Right.
Type guy.
Yeah, but I do want that 6th pick to actually be somebody I fucking heard of. So no. So I ain't never heard of dude. So.
We'll move on.
But he's big though. He's a big guy though. He's a big one.
We'll move on to our next guy here, and we're gonna have Nate start us off with this next one. It is Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois. Me and Bobby, I'll just speak for myself. I don't know about Bobby, but I had no idea who this guy was. I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but Nate.
Yeah.
I mean, is this somebody?
I'm the number 1 Lions fan, not the number 1 college football fan. So forgive me, guys.
What should we know about Witherspoon?
Well, one of the things about Witherspoon is and if people have paid attention, the last couple of years, cornerbacks, DBs coming out of Illinois have all been labeled as ball hawks. They force turnovers. You know, we seen that in the rookie year with Kirby Joseph.
Mhm.
These guys are always around the ball. Devin Witherspoon is, when I say he's physical, but he's not grabby. He's not grabby. He has very good technique, and he is a solid tackler. So a lot of people want to say, well, isn't that Joey Porter Jr.? Joey Porter Jr. is very physical. He comes from that physical stock, but he has the hands of Robbie Gold.
Oh, here you go.
Catch more for shit.
I knew he was gonna get on them hands, boy.
No, he has bad hands. And out of all, I think the top 5 corners, Joey Porter Jr. also had the slowest 40 time. Devin Witherspoon, of course, top 5. He ran a sub 4. I think he was like 4.38, 4.39, somewhere around there. Very, very good build. You can put him inside, you can put him outside. He has so much flexibility with what he brings to the table. It's kind of scary. But is he my top rated corner? No. Is he my second? No. But because he has been mocked to us so many times, I definitely had to look into him, because Kelly, people know Keely Ringo, the mocks, they have dropped him all the way to the 2nd round. I've seen one where they had him in the 3rd. They have Christian Gonzalez. They've got Christian Gonzalez and Devon Witherspoon flip-flopping it at the 6th pick as the first corner taken. Now, Christian Gonzalez is more fluid as far as corners because of his frame. He's not that thick, muscular type corner that Devon Witherspoon is. He's that sleek, smooth. It's one of them how they talk about, the sexy pick versus the not so sexy pick. So that's the way I look at them two. But Witherspoon, he's going to be a problem. He definitely is. I would not be mad at that pick at all.
Where would you pick him?
I would. It depends if
18, huh? 18, huh?
No, if Will Anderson, Jalen Carter isn't there, you could take him at 6.
Put him at 6.
Yeah, it just depends on who you favor, him or Christian Gonzalez. But he definitely makes an argument for his case at 6 as well.
Yeah, he explosive. I'm looking at his highlights, man. He physical. You know what I mean? He ain't shying from no contact. Another thing I like about him, he got some hops too. I'm just looking at some of these passes he done broke up. He done had to jump up high to get it. So I know he can dunk a basketball quite well. So believe it or not, tell him, they, as you probably know, dunking the basketball, you got some of the most athletic. That's how you throw the ball. He can dunk it. You can work with that in any sport, to be honest with you. But he physical. I like that. It seemed like he got great, like in the zone. If like in the zone coverage, he hunting that ball down. It kind of remind me of some of the couple things Aiden Hutchinson was doing too, because that read and react is pretty good, and he got them hops. Like you said, he a burner. I mean, he checking all the boxes. You know what I mean? But like I said, I ain't never heard of him, so I don't want to bet 6, 8. Nothing against him, but I ain't never heard of him. But like I said, whoever we pick, I want to be able to heard of him, but I'm probably gonna make excuses. I'm all in, man. So they can pick me, and I'm a lie. So it don't even matter.
So we got some comments coming in on YouTube Live right now. I want to thank this person for leaving us a comment. Actually, 2 comments. And Nate, I'm going to toss this over to you because I don't really have much to say on Witherspoon. I'm just,
okay.
I would trust it because you said to trust it. But anyway, let's go to the comments because this is the whole reason why we're going live. So this person, and I don't know what their actual name is. It's War the Hammer. I'm not really sure how you say that, but anyway, it says Witherspoon is actually smaller than Gonzalez at 180 pounds, but he is more physical. And Porter,
He's physical. He's
well.
physical.
That's what the comment said. Do you agree with that,
Right.
Nate?
Yeah, see, well, that's what I'm
I
saying.
do.
Right there. Remember, I didn't say Witherspoon was bigger. I said their body types. You have a sleeker guy, skinnier frame, and Christian Gonzalez, where you have more of a muscular frame in Witherspoon. I didn't say he was bigger. Remember, there's a difference. You can have a 130, 140 pound guy, and he's ripped to shreds. And then you've got another 130 pound guy who's built like a damn paper towel dispenser. I mean, it's just,
You so silly.
I'm just saying, but when I look at that, that's why I say it depends on, it's truly going to depend on their scheme fit. Because when we're talking about the 4-2-5, they both can fit into that. But like I said, it depends on what you want. Do you want that long corner? You know, because they by Witherspoon being in the Big Ten, he's played against Ohio State. He's played against Michigan. You know, he played against Penn State. He played against Purdue. He played against, you know, the big name wide receivers. And him being the number one corner on Illinois, he matched up against those guys. You know, so that's one of the things that I look at. That, you know, the freak that is Marvin Harrison Jr. So Devon Witherspoon played against all those guys, and that's what I look at. So,
and I'm looking over here, and I completely like butchered this person's name, so I apologize. I'm looking over here because I have to look over my computer to see the comments. It says War to Four Horsemen. That was his name. Or Arian Whitney. So I don't know if you guys know Arian Whitney at all.
Yeah,
that's our guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our guy.
That's our guy.
Hey, Arian, thank you so
What's
much.
up, Arian?
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
What's up, big dog?
Let's move on to our next player here. And hey, keep those comments coming. We love it. I'm looking over here. We got some people watching who are shy and they haven't commented yet. Leave us a comment. We're going to do exactly for you what we did with Arian. I'm going to butcher your name, and we're going to talk about what you got.
Hey, well, look. At least you got his real name right. That's the part.
Yes. Hey, I do my best. So, Arian, I apologize, but
man, also, man, I want to thank Arian, man, for all his support. Like Arian, literally, he supports everything we do, whether it's our podcast, to our Facebook page, from our Facebook page in the group, to our On the Hunt page. Certain people, and you know, he's a genuine dude who actually knows the game, knows what he's talking about in sports, and so it's good, you know. And man, anytime we tell him we doing something, man, on top of that, he's a man. Like he gives the type of respect that he gets back. He's not one of these guys, oh, you guys are stupid or something. Even if they may not disagree, you know, he gives everybody, you know, that respect, because at the end of the day, we're all fans, regardless what we achieved or didn't achieve. We're all fans at the end of the day. And so being respectful is not like a must. It's a true choice. And to, you know, to my guy, Arian, man, like I say, very respectful, man. Always been down with us, rock with us all the time. My dog, I appreciate you.
And Arian said that I was good, so I appreciate that, Arian. So I want to remind everybody, if you're still watching with us at this point, thank you. We appreciate it. We are doing a YouTube Live for the first couple rounds of the NFL draft on that Thursday for the draft. We're going to be starting at 7:30 p.m. We're going to be with you.
The 27th. It's the 27th.
Right, 27th. we're going to be staying with you way past my bedtime. I know that for damn sure. But we're also going to be giving away things during that live stream. So please help us spread the word that we're doing that. Again, it'll be right here on the Elijah Winfrey Studios page. So make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, you're giving away an Apple Watch, right? Apple Watch.
Man, listen, we got an Apple Watch being given away. We've got T-shirts being given away. We got a couple monetary gifts, being given away. Listen, just like we say, man.
And Nate is going to raffle off his car. What?
Hey, I have an orange rental. Hey, listen, I have an orange rental, and it's a Rogue. I will auction that off, but when you pull off, I promise I will report it stolen.
Come on now. Come on. So you can own it on the lot. You can't take it off.
You own it in the driveway. The moment it leaves the driveway, I am calling 911.
Oh man. All right. So hey, let's get into this next player here. And I just had an epiphany about this next player, actually. So I'll start us off.
Georgia Tech guy.
Keon White, defensive lineman, Georgia Tech. Now, before the guys roll their eyes all the way back into their heads, okay?
Epiphany, though. Epiphany. Really
epiphany.
Right. Out of the blue and shit.
I did not realize just how good of a season Keon White had last year. And I don't think a lot of people do, because Georgia Tech as a team was not very good. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
But Keon White in the 4-2-5 defense, he played inside, a little D tackle. He also played some defensive end. He's very versatile that way. Last season in the 4-2-5 against ACC caliber opponents, 7.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss.
Wow.
I didn't realize that whenever I put him on the paper during our planning session, because I was like, let's talk about Keon White, because we talked about him last season. I kind of forgot about him after that. But man, that's a pretty good.
I did. I know I did. The only Georgia Tech guy I remember is no, not that one. Charlie Thomas, the linebacker. Yeah.
And we'll talk about Charlie too. He's coming up in a little bit. But Keon White, let me give you the framework on him. So he is 6'4", 267 pounds. Like I was saying before, he's already played in the same system that we run currently. And he can do inside, he can do outside. 7.5 sacks last season, 14 tackles for loss. You pair him up with Aiden Hutchinson, that could be a dangerous situation right there. My epiphany has led me to say something that is probably crazy. I would not be mad if they got Keon if Jalen Carter is off the board already.
What, at 6?
But if Carter's already gone, he's not going to happen. You get Keon. He's somebody that not a lot of people are looking at, but he is projected to go in the first round. I will say that. He is projected to go in the first round somewhere.
I'm taking a defensive tackle from Pittsburgh.
I mean, yeah, he's good too, but I'm just saying, if you want somebody with versatility to go inside and outside, Keon could be a surprise pick. He could be kind of a dark horse, if you will. What are your thoughts on Keon? And does that stat line I just gave you kind of change things a little bit? Because he has more sacks than Brian Brees does. That's for damn.
But the difference is you're talking about 6'5" versus 6'4", and you're talking about 265 versus 305. When the average weight of the NFL offensive lineman is between 305 and 320.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's one of those things like when I look at a guy like that, I'll have to look at the arm length. I want to look at your bench press numbers. Like, it's so many. So for me, like, I would actually have to really, really deep dive into him. Because, hey, look, like y'all, like I said, hey, this guy, I did not. I remember us talking about him, and he was like, an afterthought. Like, actually, he wasn't even a thought. So, I'm not even going to lie. So, it's like one of them. So, I don't want to do him, like, any unfair justice because, that's not the way that's not just not the way.
Right.
But My only thing right off the top is the 45-pound difference from him to the average NFL defensive lineman. I mean,
Yeah.
Unless, and even when Aaron Donald came out at 280. Aaron Donald still plays between 295 and 300.
He ain't got the explosiveness though.
Yeah, but not even just that. It's the weight and the strength, because as we know, he's that strong because he's getting double team. He has a very good low center of gravity. Aaron Donald, right? But when you think about how impactful Ndamukong Suh was, Ndamukong played at 305.
But see, and I'm glad you said that, not to even cut you off, big dog. And Elijah, I respect your guy, but when I get a guy a defensive tackle or even an end that early in the first round, his hands are not as violent as they should be. And that's the hardest thing to teach is them damn hands. You got to damn near already have that. I don't see his hands like that, but I think I think he's a big, strong dude. I don't think he got the explosiveness or the hands to get picked that high. But I will say this though, he ain't quitting. He got a motor. That motherfucker got a motor though. But I don't think he got the
one thing.
So
here's my question. So you said you got combine stats.
Yeah.
The only things that truly that matter to me when you're talking about defensive tackles, 40s are good. Whatever. I want to see what his cone drills were. What were his times for doing his cone drill? Because that's going to solidify his short area quickness. How far, just how fast he is from the snap of the ball to the quarterback. 40-yard dash is fine. But the cone drill is what's important for me.
So here's some combine stats on Keon. Now, apparently, like the website I've been using to like get the weights on these guys is it's like collegefootballstats.com, but it's like one that usually doesn't do me dirty, but it has done me dirty tonight because Quentin Johnston, I was off on the weight. I was way off on the weight on Keon White. So remember how I said he was 267? That must have been an old weight because he's actually 285, and that makes a big difference.
Okay. That makes sense.
He is also, according to the combine, he is not 6'4". He is 6'5". So again, I don't know what happened with these numbers, but they did go up. Hand size is 10 and an eighth, I believe is how you say it. And then his bench press, he did 30 reps at 225.
Okay.
So I don't know.
He bumped strong.
Yeah. That works for me. Like that's one of the things. Like I say, like if me and Bobby, one of the things like we used to talk about. You remember what I used to call the combine?
Oh,
whatever.
Something. I think it was something naked, something, right? What
the underwear Olympics.
Oh yeah, underwear Olympics. Yeah.
So, like some people test very well, and some people play faster than they test. That's one of the things. And by me not knowing, you know what, he may have had a good day, and that's one of the things where I don't, like I said, I want to give him an unfair judgment. I will actually have to go back and actually look at it because a couple of guys who test pathetically and had very good NFL careers. One of them was Richard Sherman, all-pro corner. Another one was Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis ran a 4.8 at the damn combine.
So here's another thing, Nate, to throw in, and I promise I'm not trying to turn this into the Keon White hour.
You're doing what you're supposed to do.
Keon White did not run the 40-yard at the combine. He ran it at the Georgia Tech Pro Day. So take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, okay? Because we all know when they're actually at their hometown for their pro day, sometimes the clock.
Long as it doesn't say nothing crazy like a 4.5, I'll be all right.
So Keon White clocked in at an unofficial time of 4.65, which would have been the fastest time of any player over 283 pounds at the NFL Combine this year. So again, I don't know. Maybe it's just it's the Georgia Tech blood in me, but I'm getting excited, y'all. Because
Oh.
It's definitely the Georgia Tech blood.
I'm looking at this and I'm going, he is somebody that I don't hear anybody talking about. But man, I could see it. I could definitely see it. If Carter's not there, either at 6 or at 18, I'd be fine with it. But that's Keon White out of Georgia Tech. Again, people don't really know about him because we went 5-6 last year as a football team. But take a look at him and you tell us what you think. But I think 7.5 sacks, 285 pounds now that we have the correct weight. He's obviously fast. He's obviously strong. I mean, why not? He's certainly not going to be on other people's draft boards, I don't believe, but they are projecting him as a first-round pick, probably to the Falcons of all people. So we'll see what happens, but that's Keon White. Let's move on now to a tight end. Now, I know when we say tight end and we're talking about the number 6 pick or the number 18 pick, Lions fans might have a little thing called PTSD because of Eric Ebron. But this guy that we're talking about is probably the type of player that Eric Ebron wishes he could be whenever he's dreaming at night. Darnell Washington out of Georgia. I'm going to let Nate talk about it. Nate's actually in the middle of cooking dinner and talking with us. So
I'm good now, though. But I got time to talk about that guy, Big Darnell Washington. Hey, that's one mean son of a bitch.
That's what I'm talking
about.
Would you be okay drafting a tight end in the top 10?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
No.
Why not?
No, I'm not taking a tight end. Listen, there's not one tight end I've ever seen that should be taken in the top 10. That should be taken in the top 10. And this is even using hindsight. Like, regardless what their career may have been, from college to their combine, from Travis Kelce to Greg Kittle, none of those guys have ever looked like they should have been drafted in the top 10. That's the same thing with this Michael.
Not even Pitts.
Well, the thing about Kyle Pitts, to me, Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver.
Yes, thank you. That's what I said when he was coming out of Florida, but everyone said he's a
like if you think about, dude, Kyle Pitts barely even lines up on the line.
Right.
So I don't really count him as a tight end. He's like a fucking super Aaron Gonzalez. And so it's like, dude, like, he don't even line up on the damn line.
Right.
Yeah. But even Darnell Washington, for everything that he is, he's a mean dude. Dude, he would fit with the culture and the direction of this team. The way that our team blocks from the wide receiver position to the offensive lineman to the running backs. I done seen Jared Goff throw some blocks. He would fit. That was the one reason why TJ Hawkins shit did not fit.
Yeah, hey, you like how Elijah conveniently left him out? He said Ebron like 10 times, but then
I know.
I know. I let him in. I wasn't even gonna say nothing.
I forgot about him, to be honest with you. I completely forgot about TJ Hawkins shit.
Yeah. Georgia Tech.
I forgot about him. I'm still on
that damn Hawkins shit, man.
I'm still thinking about Keon White. That's all.
Oh Lord, dude.
But Darnell, what? Obviously, you said he would fit the culture. He's a mean tight end.
Yeah, and he's a very good athlete. Very good hands. High points to ball.
The guy in the football group said his hand shaky. Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen that. Stupid.
Yeah, he said his hand's shaky. He said his hands ain't tight, Nate. That's the kind of shit we deal with in the football group.
But you know what? But you got to think about it. Sometimes a lot of people in our football groups love to go against us just to go against us to say, hey, I got one over on the guys.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. Like, dude, some people love to be the ones that got one to get the guy. They got one over, and that's just what it is, which is fine. Because like I say, at the end of the day, we are fans, and as we know, to these organizations, when it comes to this stage, fans don't matter. So,
I don't know about all that because they be stealing all of our fucking takes. If we
I
don't
totally
matter,
agree. Hey, I'm saying, hey, I'm just dog. Listen, we've pinpointed this a whole bunch of times.
I have to say this real quick before we keep talking about Darnell Washington. I was listening to 97.1 The Ticket the other day, and they started talking about, you know, who's coming to town? This guy might be really good as a backup behind Jared Goff. Have you guys heard about the legend of Hendon Hooker? And I went, you son of a bitches. Sitting there stealing my take that I was on that train
that
6
months ago.
6 months ago.
Months ago.
Yeah. That's just, it is funny. Like I say, right? But that's why I say, man, I am really, I am flattered at the same time. I forgot what episode we talked about, but then we looked up the very next day.
Yes.
And it was everything. All the stats we put up was on somebody else on the Lions lowdown. I said, dude, y'all really just stealing our shit like that?
I'm like, it's not like, at least throw us some subscribers. Like, give us something. Like,
No. Say, listen, this is courtesy of the On the Hunt podcast, blah, 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 blah. No. I was just like, wait a minute.
They were stealing our shit for years. They've been doing that shit for years.
Wasn't on nobody's shit. We talked about Kelly Ringo and Olympic speed, and here it go pop up on their page. I said, man, you got to be kidding me, dog.
At first, when you were saying that last season, Nate, I got to admit, when you were saying that last season that other people were stealing our stuff, I was like, well, you know, maybe Nate just loves us that much that we're feeling a little good about ourselves, and maybe we shouldn't be feeling like they're stealing. No, they're flat out stealing, because I've seen it the last 3 months, and I'm like, no, there's something to what Nate's saying.
I just showed y'all the other one. Like, dude. It's like, wait a minute.
Just give us a little baby credit. That's all, man. I'm not asking
like
for a
crazy
bank loan, just a little baby credit. That's all.
DeMarvion Overshown hasn't been on nobody's heat. Nobody's even heard about the kid but me. As soon as we talked about it, I'm like, wait, like the biggest sleeper in the draft, DeMarvion Overshown. Get out of here. Y'all did not just think of that. No, you didn't. No, you did not.
Yeah.
Like, dog, are you serious?
They have me searching my house for recording devices. That's how bad this is. Anyway, Bobby West, Darnell Washington. What are your thoughts on the tight end from Georgia?
Yeah, like Nate was saying, man, he mean. I like my tight ends mean and not trying to be receivers. But also, like Nate said, we ain't messing with no tight end at 6. I wouldn't be like he fit the profile like I was talking about our football group yesterday. I shared a post of the kid, Mr. Washington. So you already know that I'm down for him at 18. But you know what I mean? I just want the physicality. I just want to keep it going, you know. A bunch of dogs. We got that going, you know what I mean? Especially him practicing against Aiden Hutchinson and stuff too, man. That's on iron sharpening iron. You know they're gonna bump. You know what I mean?
You know, Georgia. He's been trying to block Nolan Smith coming off the edge, Jalen Carter helping out. Like all these guys, you know, both are top 10 or truly both are top 15 picks. You know. And me being a tight end, and I've got to pick these up and blitz packaging and pass blocking situations. And not only that, you know, in certain situations, I'm matched up against Keely Ringo. I'm matched up against Nolan Smith coming out.
That tight end got the hardest job on the field if you really think about it, because they got to block like a lineman, run, block like a fullback, catch like a receiver, and be able to take a hit. Because they're going through the middle. You got to be mean. Got to be mean. And he blocked like a lineman. So like a defensive player.
That tight end has more film rooms to be in than any other position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, offensive lineman, the receivers room, you know, and sometimes depending on
special teams. The way he out there, he gonna be
not only that,
on special teams too.
You know, some of them are in the running back room because some offensive use H-back positions. So the ones that are incorporating that H-back that don't have a fullback put their tight end in the fullback or in the H-back position.
He could play fullback. He mean enough for sure. He mean enough. He's for sure.
Right.
He ready. But the thing I like though, I like how he pulled too. You know what I mean? Like he looking for work, man. He ain't just gonna just TJ Hawkinson it. He gonna fucking actually look for somebody.
Man, we seen Hawkins shit Ole so many blocks, man. It's like, dude, what did you at least pinch him? like dog, they would just run dog. It was so bad.
Did you at least pinch him? What the?
Yeah, so he gonna be the type. The way he hit, he's the type of guy that's paying attention in the film room. He gonna know who he's supposed to be getting with. So
right.
I'm a fan. I think he got first round talent. To be honest, anything on that Georgia trenches, defense or offense, you know what I mean? You can't really miss at 18. There you go.
So Darnell Washington for me, my quick thoughts on him. I didn't really get a chance to really see too much of him. I am a little concerned because as I'm looking at his overall stats, obviously blocking doesn't show up on those stats like it should.
Yeah, you got to look at that though.
But it looks like he's missed some games during his career at Georgia. I don't know if that's because he was earning playing time on the field or if that's because he was hurt. I'm not sure. But I did see freshman year, he played 4 games. His next season, he played 8. Last year, he played all the games. But as Nate would always say, your greatest ability is your availability. And he's
and as we seen, it kept going up. Now, on top of this is also the key. He's not the number 1 tight end on Georgia.
Okay.
Everybody remember that. He's not the number 1. The number 1 tight end, though, he can't even come out yet. He's not coming out till next year.
Okay.
And that's Bauer.
And that's fair. That's fair.
Now, I'll take that back. That's a tight end. Bauer is a guy that is a top 10 tight end. Okay. I'll take it back. I forgot all about that kid right there is top 10.
So
going like I was saying with the other stuff too, that's a hard position to learn. So if he out there fucking up, he can sit it down, especially if he ain't the passing threat, the guy putting the points on the board. He just out there. We can't have him out there missing blocks and shit. So I think it was more. I think the more he caught on with the actual, I think it's all scheme and protection type thing for him. And as you see, he played all the games this year because he was out there, Bobby Boucher, for real. He looked. I mean, he out here. He bully, man. He a bully, man. I like him.
So here's my other issue, okay? And this is really something that can be said about anybody who is tall, okay? If you, and I think Nate knows where I'm going with this. If you listen to Calvin Johnson talk about his career in Detroit,
the knees,
that is where everybody goes at you. Now, this is also a concern for Quentin Johnston, but I didn't mention it back then because I wasn't thinking about it. But Quentin Johnston's 6'4". Can he handle people going at his knees to get him on the ground? Darnell Washington is 6'7". Can he handle people going at his knees? And I don't think he had to deal with that a whole lot at Georgia. But, like Nate would say, I know Nate would say this about other players who are playing lesser talent. They're out there playing plumbers and doctors and things like that.
That was Zach Zenner.
But when you're out there playing against other NFL guys who, their livelihood is on the line week in and week out, they don't think twice about going for your knees. So I just kind of wonder about that. That's not to say that I wouldn't pick him because, again, there's no evidence of him not being able to handle it. To be fair to him, there's no evidence of that. I'm just saying that would be a concern of mine because how many years are you going to get out of the guy? Because he is 6'7", so they're not just going to put him in there to block. They're going to put him in there to go and catch passes in the red zone. Because if they only put him in there to block, here's the issue with that.
It's a dead giveaway.
It's a dead giveaway. Because you see him in there, it's a run. But on top of that, if you're just drafting somebody because of their ability to block, then just go out there and get Osiris that we talked about an hour ago.
No.
I'm just saying, like if you're just trying to get a glorified offensive lineman, then go get a real offensive lineman.
No, but if you look at our receivers, they block on the move really well. We need more guys in like all parts of that blocking on the move. So go ahead, big dog.
But what I'm saying is, at the tight end position nowadays, you need somebody who can catch the ball and get it downfield, but you also need somebody who can block.
Oh, we know that. That's why
so what I'm saying
but
is,
but to me, a tight end blocking is more important than a tight end catching the football. To me.
But what I'm saying is if he can't affect the passing game, and you're only drafting him for his ability to block, then you might as well just go out and get an offensive lineman, because you're wasting a pick on a tight end who all they do well is block.
I'm with you.
Or you're gonna be wide open. Or you're gonna be wide open like Brock Wright and take it all the way to the house.
Right. but you get what I'm saying though, right, Bobby?
Yeah, I do. But I'm saying like it's the way our offense is physicality. They don't want. We used to want the tight end to catch the ball. We want the tight end to block now. Cause shit, even because Penei Sewell, we got all guys that's big and good on their feet. And I'm looking at his highlight. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I didn't study this kid, but from the stuff I'm looking at it, like pulling and coming across the line on them counter plays that we be running.
Yeah.
He can see that. He know the guy to hit. You know what I mean? And then Georgia, that's power football. He done played against some of the best linemen in the show every day for 4 years. So,
but I'm just saying scenario.
Yeah.
You need him to catch a ball to win a game. You throw it at him and he's got stones for hands. That's going to get annoying.
Oh, no.
He don't.
Because I haven't looked at him very much. That's why.
No.
That's what the guy. That's what the guy said in the comment section, and they was like,
"Hell no. He doesn't have stone hands. The difference is they had a phenom as a freshman tight end who completely destroyed college football, and then as a sophomore completely did it again.
Okay,
so that's one of them. That's why I say Bowers is going to be a top 10 tight end next year. He is good.
So do you wait for Bowers then?
That is a choice. That definitely could be a play. I would not be mad at that, because I'm not telling Bowers is that good.
Yeah, I have to admit he is, because like he's
that good, man.
He pulled some plays off against my Yellow Jackets that I still hate him for. But anyway,
he's that good, man. To be that size, that young, he is that good.
So let's move on to another tight end. I know nothing about this guy. I knew a little bit about Darnell, not a whole lot. I know nothing about this next guy. Dalton out of Utah. Nate, why are we talking about him?
Because Dalton is everything that the Lions have to try to get out of three guys.
Okay.
You talking about the hands and speed of a Shane Zylstra. You want the blocking and all that you get out of Brock Wright, James Mitchell. You're running tight end screens with Brock Wright. Like, this is what you want. But with Dalton Kincaid, you get that. Now, he is not a Darnell Washington mauler of a blocker. You know how people tried to sell us on that damn TJ Hawkinson? Oh, he's a mauler. No, he's not. He gets mauled.
Listen,
so you don't piss Elijah off.
Listen, he shops at the mall every chance he gets. He is a mauler.
Oh gosh.
Come on now.
But like Dalton Kincaid has that Travis Kelce type feel to him, but I'm talking about playmaking ability.
Okay.
Travis Kelce was never, like, even now he's not a great blocker. He's a willing blocker and knows how to use his frame. Hell, his big brother Well, his brother is one of the best centers in all of
Lineman in the
football.
league, yeah.
So, that was something that he was fortunate enough that he had to learn with and get better, is because his brother was that. But I'm talking about you get upstairs. I'm talking about
Nate has a dog that he's talking to right now, just to make
Oh
sure.
yeah, sorry, y'all. Dog,
Nate, you have to explain that because people are like, who is he talking to like that?
No, my man, Luna brung her butt. She just got up. I hear her little bell. She goes in, gets in her dog bowl, and goes right to the garbage can.
Oh,
Get your away from the garbage can. I'm like,
she's just trying to help out around the house.
no, she's not. You think? No, I told you to shoot earlier. No,
Oh, man.
no, we're not. So anyway, Dalton Kincaid has that Travis Kelce type offensive feel to him, ability to stretch the field and be a legitimate tight end. Like he can block. He has the size, but he also has the speed. He has the good soft hands. He definitely knows how to create separation against linebackers. So that's why we're talking about Dalton Kincaid. Like, man, I think he's going to be a good guy. I think he's going to be really, really good. Again, I think, it also has to depend on where he goes scheme-wise, because you can go to Green Bay where they don't use tight ends at all, or you can go to Kansas City. You can go here. You can go San Fran where they use their tight ends, or Dallas, where a guy where they truly, truly utilize their tight ends, or he's just relegated to coming in and block here or there and then get a red zone target. So I don't know. Bobby, you got anything on him?
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I'm literally looking it up, but the thing that I did notice that he was a captain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Guys that are captain, they I think they will fit with this team more. You know what I mean? Because we already got a bunch of player coaches and captains. Captains show that you're a leader of men. You know what I mean? So the best leaders are the followers. Because you can't never be a leader without followers. So I feel that he would already come in and he'll know how to play his role. But just like you said, he the utility knife when it comes to that. So I think, like me personally, now that I'm just looking up his stats, I actually would take him over the Georgia kid. So thank you guys.
Here we go.
I ain't hit. I wasn't hip to him, but I like him, especially when Nate compared him to Travis Kelce. Man, who the hell don't want that on their team, right? So, I'm just kind of questioning his competition he went against, but
right in Utah, right?
Yeah, I love them hands though. I love them hands. The ball ain't moving. He's snatching it. You know what I mean? He fast too. But just like Nate said though, I think he a perfect bootleg quarterback. I mean, bootleg tight end, man. Because like I was saying with the last guy, Brock Wright, he come across way quicker, and the fact that he's a little bit more physical, he'll be able to sell that bootleg for golf a little bit harder, especially that he's a receiving threat and he punch him in the mouth. I like that. So he'll fit right in. I like him. I think he'll be that red zone threat too that we missing. Because we got guys to stretch the field, but we don't got a guy like, we can just throw it up and tell him to go get it. I think he can help all that, honestly. I'm a fan. But lacking competition, always question like who he go to. But he got some ups too. He an athlete, so I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm okay with it. So I think he have instant impact. Yeah.
I don't really have an opinion on the player, so I hate to be boring like that, but I really don't. I don't have an opinion.
Okay. Let's get to Mr. Charlie Thomas there.
Yeah, there we go. So Charlie Thomas out of Georgia Tech, he's a linebacker. I've talked about him on the show before. You have to go back to last season to hear what I said about him, but I'll kind of give you a brief synopsis. I think he is somebody who plays like he's defending his family. That's how I feel. He is a absolute warrior out there. He is a seeking missile at linebacker. And the thing about him is, just to kind of give a frame of reference here, that first game of the season last year for Georgia Tech was against Clemson. When Charlie Thomas was in the game, Clemson was having a hell of a time trying to do anything against that Georgia Tech defense. Go look at the footage. You'll see what I'm talking about. What happened was Charlie Thomas got called for a targeting call. And the minute he went out of the game, that Georgia Tech defense was never the same. And it went from 7-3 to 41-10.
Damn.
So that happened a few more times than it should last season, where he kept getting called for targeting, which that's something that he's got to fix, because that's obviously for his safety and for the safety of the people he's trying to tackle. But
he's got to learn how to tackle by keeping his head up.
Right. But when he was out there on the field, what he did do, I thought, was pretty impressive. Last season, he had 10.5 tackles for loss. He had 2 sacks. He also had 2 interceptions. He also forced 2 fumbles, recovered 2 fumble recoveries. He was all over the field, and he was a 4-2-5 linebacker, which is what we need. We do have Rodrigo. We do have Anzalone. We do have Barnes. I think you add Charlie Thomas in, that room only gets a little bit better. You know, why not? Why not make that room as good as it possibly can be? Charlie Thomas, like I said, he is a heat-seeking missile. Now, at the combine, he didn't do very well. I'm going to be honest with you. He did not do very well at all. But this is one of those situations where, as much as we give players credit for the combine, we also have to remember that not everybody practices well or tests well. But when the actual lights are on and the shoulder pads are on, they will go out there and fuck up somebody's day. And that's the type of person that Charlie Thomas is. Now, do I think that we're going to get him at 6 or 18? No. I think the combine performance has hurt him to the point where some people are saying 4th round. But again, I would just say, remember what these combine folks, these experts said about Rodrigo. He's too small. He can't play in the NFL. And what did we find out? We found out that they don't know shit about Rodrigo. Okay. So I'm just saying, with Charlie Thomas, keep him on your board somewhere. Okay. I'm not saying 6. I'm not saying 18, but keep him on your board somewhere, because he is somebody who, again, already has a knowledge of the system. You're not sitting there saying, well, he's a 4-3 linebacker. Maybe he might work out. Or he's a 3-4 linebacker. Maybe he might work out, because Nate will tell you, as our resident defensive coordinator, being a 4-2-5 linebacker and having to cover as much field as you do on every
that's a big difference.
If you're in a 3-4, you got backup. If you're in a 4-3, you got backup. Your mistakes are not as magnified as they are when you're the only other one out there at that position. So to me, when I look at when I'm looking at defenders in this year's draft, I'm looking for guys who have played the 4-2-5. That to me is a prerequisite. Have they played in the 4-2-5? Or do they have versatility to play multiple positions? That's what I'm looking at. I'm not saying that's what the Lions are doing, but that's what I'm looking at. That's why I like Charlie Thomas. Again, not at 6, not at 18, but it would be a damn shame not to get him somewhere. Nate, what do you think about Charlie Thomas?
Production is there. Knowledge is there. But the targeting is huge, because it speaks of discipline. It speaks of focus. And hell, and one thing I know, the NFL doesn't want another Vontaze Burfict.
Yeah. Fair point.
So that's where I'm at with that. Like, you know, it's okay to have one, but to have it happen consistent, you know, I hate to even use the word consistently when talking about targets, but it's happened multiple times and you have hurt your team every single time. It puts us back. The best ability is availability.
Right.
The availability doesn't just mean the injury report.
Right.
It means, just not just the active roster, is when you're on the field. Are you doing things not to get disqualified? And so that's
I'm
where,
sorry. That shit was funny.
huh?
Are you doing things not to get disqualified?
Well,
Sound like hey, he sound like Ric Flair. He's Ric Flair, the dirtiest man in wrestling.
and the only thing that I would hop in and say, and I know that Nate and Bobby would agree with me on this, they are very different situations. So I'm not trying to say the situations are the same, but I think for Charlie Thomas, you could use the same argument that we use with Jalen Carter. Do the Lions have a strong enough organization that they can help him overcome losing focus? Can they help him overcome, trying to teach him, hey, here's the correct technique so that you can stay in this game because we need you out there? I mean, you can make that same argument. And I would like to say, just like we said with Jalen Carter, I believe that Rodrigo and Anzalone and Barnes, even though I really haven't heard Barnes speak up that much, Anzalone and Rodrigo would make sure that Charlie Thomas is doing what he's supposed to do.
The focus part, that's on him. That's not on the coaching staff. That's a personal, in-depth, you and your core type thing. Now, the tackling techniques, Kelvin Shepherd, yeah. But it's like, dude, you've been playing football your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
You can't nobody in the head.
And even coming up, they tell you no crackback blocks, no headshots. But it's, you keep doing it. It's one of those things like, you don't, like I say, it's still early. The one thing I believe, if a person is showing you who they are, believe
it.
Right.
Believe it.
Believe them.
But hey, I'm not that hard on the kid. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, I don't know much about him, but it's Elijah, Georgia Tech guy. But I'm a fan of the players. You gotta calm down.
You fucking know. Oops, sorry, y'all.
Hey, this short and sweet because I don't know much about the kid. I'm a fan of the players you gotta calm down. The ones you gotta hype up, I don't really believe in all that much. But the kid, he ain't scared. So that goes a long way for me. And I don't think the NFL, him being out there on the field, he'll be overwhelmed. I think that I hate to say this, but I agree with you, Elijah. I think we got the guys around here on this team that can teach him the ropes and teach him how to calm his butt down. And a thing that I also did notice, he is decent in coverage. When I'm looking at linebackers, that coverage, can he cover? Because if he can't cover, they're gonna find you. You know what I mean? So, I'm a fan. Actually, I don't know about early in the draft, but I can see him being this year's Rodrigo. I do see that when I'm looking at the film, and he like a missile too. He ain't scared. So
yeah,
I'm like, when he missing hard. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it ain't a question of he don't know what's going on out there. He don't know where he don't know where he need to be putting that missile towards. Right. Not like he got to do it. It's accuracy, kind of like, I guess I could say. Yeah. But he ain't over pursuing. He's definitely not over pursuing. And then when you get with them linebackers, you see a lot of the things you look at is coverage and tackling angle. He ain't making the wrong angle on no tackle. He coming and hit something. So I do like that with him, and like I would consider him a project, to be honest. You know what I mean? So and my projects will start around 4 or 5. So I'm with you with it right there, brother. All the way.
And like I said, if he falls to the 3rd round, if he falls to the 4th round, which is what they're saying he's going to go in, I say take a flyer on him, take a shot. Why not? I mean, I like our coaching staff. I like the players on our team. And I think they're going to have a very frank conversation with him. It's get right or get out. And that's what I think is going to end up happening with anybody that's a project player coming to Detroit. They're always going to say either you get right or you get out. Brad Holmes has already said he don't play that shit. Like look at all the guys he's let leave or kicked out in the first 2 years he's been there.
He ain't playing.
So that leads us to our final player of the night, and we appreciate everybody sticking around with us here. Our final player of the night is somebody that I threw on at the end of our planning session, which seems like forever ago, but I'm having a good time, and we hope you are too. Quarterback Malik Cunningham out of Louisville. So I'll start us off because I'm the one that put him on here. Malik Cunningham is somebody that I find to be very interesting because he plays at Louisville, or played at Louisville, I should say. And I kept waiting for him to take over because he has the tools. He's 6'1", he's 200 pounds. He's very, very fast as a quarterback. Playing speed probably better than his 40 time, but you say that about a lot of guys, and that turns out to usually be true. But his playing speed, very good. He can make you miss. He's also got a pretty good arm. He's got good arm strength, but he never had that crowning moment at Louisville that we're used to seeing Louisville quarterbacks have over the last decade or so. You look at Teddy Bridgewater at Louisville, he lit it up at Louisville. I know in the NFL, he's been very up and down, but he could end up being our backup.
He's cool. Yeah, I ain't like Nate. He ain't all whack like Nate makes it sound.
But he could end up being our.
Yeah, you did. You said Teddy Bridgewater wasn't shit.
But Teddy Bridgewater, he could end up being our backup.
Teddy Bridgewater, sweet. He's sweet
because I have heard that they did put a contract offer out to Teddy Bridgewater. That's being reported by a lot of the different media sites. So he could end up being our backup quarterback. But my point is, when Teddy Bridgewater was at Louisville, he was the man. And then you had Lamar Jackson at Louisville, and he was the man at Louisville. So I was waiting for Cunningham to have that moment. That moment never arrived, unfortunately. He was on some subpar Louisville teams that were kind of in transition a little bit when it came to coaches and things like that. So with all of that being said, what did he do at Louisville? In case you're not familiar with him, through the air as the starting quarterback for the Louisville Cardinals, 9,660 yards passing, 70 touchdowns, 29 interceptions. And then on the ground in his 3 years as a starter, over 3,000 yards rushing and 50 rushing touchdowns. But yet nobody's talking about this guy at all. It's always about Bryce Young. It's about CJ Stroud. It's about Hendon Hooker. It's about Will Levis out of Kentucky. And nobody's talking about Malik Cunningham. Now, he did make a little bit of news. It was unfortunate news, but he made some news a few months ago because the USFL was having their college player draft, and the Birmingham Stallions drafted Malik Cunningham. And, you know, the Stallions fans were all excited that, hey, this guy's going to come play football for us in the USFL. He's going to develop and then go to the NFL, kind of like what Warren Moon did back in the day when he went to the CFL and then went to the NFL. But Malik Cunningham had no idea he was drafted by the USFL. And they asked him about it at the combine. They said, hey, you got drafted today by the USFL. And his words were, I ain't playing in that. Now, could he have had a better reaction to that situation? Yeah, probably. But at the same time, he didn't even know. He didn't even know that he was drafted by that. That's like some random business calling you saying, hey, Bobby, why didn't you show up for your shift at Subway? And you saying, because I didn't even know I got hired. Like that, like that to me is just kind of a screwed up situation. But you look at his college stats, obviously played on subpar Louisville teams. They never won an ACC title. They were never in contention for an ACC title. But he does have the skill set. And so to me, I look at him as maybe a surprise late first round pick or second round pick because of his skill set. In fact, if you're asking me who he goes to, I think he goes to the Ravens. I think the Ravens go out there and draft Malik Cunningham. because they view him as Lamar Jackson 2.0, or at the very least, he's somebody with the skill set to do some of our offense that we designed for Lamar. So I could see them doing that.
They tried it before. They definitely tried it. They tried it with Brett Hundley.
Yeah, but for the Lions, I know I've been talking about Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker is my guy. I want to make that very clear. But if Hendon Hooker for some reason doesn't work out, if Brad Holmes was to go for Malik Cunningham, I would not bat an eye at it because the kid does have the skill set. He just played on mediocre teams. And honestly, I think it's safe to say this. I would much rather be the best player on a bad team than be the best player on a mediocre team. Because if you're the best player on a very bad team, they're still talking about you. They're saying, well, just get him some talent. If you're the best player on a great team, obviously they want you already. But if you're the best player on a mediocre team, they're probably not talking about your team. And they're probably saying, well, he did have some of the tools, but they didn't win very many games. But again, 70 touchdowns through the air, 50 touchdowns on the ground, over 12,000 yards of offense, not a peep about him. Nate, do you get what I'm saying? That like, why?
Yeah,
are we
I get it. I get
He
it.
only threw for 1,500 yards this year.
He did what?
He only threw for 1,500 yards. Is that right?
Let me look and see, because I know he had, like I said, I know he had 9,000.
I'm trying to. I don't want to. I want to make sure I get it all before I say hell no. So
How many games did he play?
yeah, cause
So Malik Cunningham this season, he played 10 games. He threw for 1,568 yards. But then on the ground this season,
No.
he had 560 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Nope.
so out of 1,500 yards, he had 5 interceptions.
Right.
No, he sucks.
You see Bobby face? Look at.
But again, though, that's
Nope.
one season.
I don't want him.
That's people judging folks on one season. You
Well,
gotta look at the
as
whole
we
body of work.
listen, one season makes or break you. It's not
Yeah.
what you. It's always about what you've done for me lately.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, the one thing. Now remember this. Now, you ready for this one, Bobby? So when we were talking about the 4 quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hendon Hooker biggest knock was his one game against whom?
Georgia.
Alabama. Oh yeah, Georgia. Yep.
So that one game, you're
Mhm.
talking about one game versus an entire season.
Yeah.
Right. But
You see what I'm saying?
but
Where he was bad.
But my point with that was not that Hendon Hooker was bad against Georgia.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if we looked at it, and that one game against Georgia was that defining game. Like he had that one out of the entire season. He
Against
had that
Alabama,
one,
yeah.
right, that one. And Malik Cunningham had 10 games.
Mhm.
10 games, right? That means he averaged roughly 150 yards a game from your quarterback?
Probably, yeah. Like I said, his moment never arrived. But if you look at his whole body of work, it's like there's something there. I just don't know what it is.
Well, I can tell you this: a first or second round ain't gonna get you I don't know what it is moment. It'll get you I don't know why I hired you fired.
Yeah. or he goes to somebody who actually, because here's the thing, Louisville's got a new coach this season because of how bad last season went. So for me, I'm kind of looking at it going, okay, if we were to get Malik Cunningham, he comes into our offense with Ben Johnson, with our offensive line, our weapons, and not having the immediate pressure to play because of Jared Goff. I could see him.
Unless we taking him in the 5th round, that's the only place I would ever want to take him.
Yeah.
But
Hey, Elijah, man, I know you the whisperer, and I know you got Geno Smith
hey,
on
that
your
dude
record
got to
and
be in the
all that
fifth.
shit, man. He only threw for 15. He played 10 games, threw for 1,500 yards in 10 games, and then only got 8 touchdowns. That ain't a lot of yards, so I ain't tripping about the 8 touchdowns, but 5 interceptions and 1,500 yards.
Right.
I don't know, man.
Listen,
I think
I get it, but that's why
I
I'm
don't
saying
know, man. I don't see it.
that's why I'm saying he's my surprise guy. He's my surprise guy.
No. That's not a surprise. A surprise is happy birthday. Everybody's at the house.
Oh, and then
Hey, that's
an
what you
asshole, Nate.
that's what you call a what the fuck. Like, hey, I didn't take my birth control and I'm late. You are what the fuck? Look, that's what that is.
Yeah, and I'm
Right. No, I certainly get that. But my thing is I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the whole body of work. And I know you guys are focused on last season. I get it. I totally understand that. I'm looking at his whole body of work because his junior season was actually pretty good. He had 20 touchdowns last year, and then he had a bunch of rushing touchdowns too.
And he only threw 6 interceptions. He only threw 6
I'm looking at that and I'm going, okay, what's more likely? The 8 touchdowns, the 5 interceptions is the Malik Cunningham we're going to get, or is it the 20 touchdown Malik Cunningham we're going to get? So that's how I look at it.
Depending on who those 20 touchdowns came against. If he did if he did those against ranked teams, or if he had a game with Youngstown State and he had 5 touchdowns, oh no. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. So that season, I'll just give you a couple of the stats because again, I don't want to keep us here all night. But
and don't leave out the good bad ones either, Elijah.
I'm not gonna leave out the bad. Again, like I pride myself on the quarterbacks I bring to this show. So looking at his 20, let me make sure that I'm getting the right season here. So I'm looking for the 20 touchdown. And actually,
don't go off that one site where they kept giving you the wrong sizes.
Yeah, I know. Let me give you the stats here, just because I think this is important. Because if folks don't do their own research, they're not going to know this.
Right.
Cunningham, 2019, okay, 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. 2020, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. 2021, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, which to me proves that the 8 touchdown to 5 interception ratio, that's an anomaly. That's one bad year because he had 3 good years that you can put against it. But let's take a look here at his 2021 season, just because I want to be, I don't want to go all the way back to 2019 and be like, hey, look at those stats. But
right.
2021 season, let's look at that here for a second. So obviously he plays in the ACC, so you should recognize some of these schools. Against Mississippi, he had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And I will include rushing touchdowns because that to me matters.
That's fine.
He played Eastern Kentucky next. 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns. Central Florida, they're a pretty good school. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 2 rushing touchdowns. You're probably seeing a trend here. Looking at Florida State, they won that game.
He's going to be what the scouts be like. Oh yeah, he's not a quarterback; he's a running back.
Right. So against Florida State that year in 2021, they ended up winning that game. He completed 64% of his passes. He threw for 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and had 2 rushing touchdowns against Florida State. Against Wake Forest, 2 touchdowns through the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Against Virginia, he didn't have a good game against Virginia. 1 touchdown through the air, no touchdowns on the ground. Let's see here. Moving on. Let's see. Kentucky. So we went up against Will Levis. Didn't have a great game. 1 interception, and then he had 1 rushing touchdown. And then against Air Force in the bowl game, he had 1 touchdown through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. But again, as I'm reading these, you got to remember, a lot of these games I'm talking about, they lost because it's Louisville and they haven't been good in a little bit. So for me, I'm kind of looking at it going, again, mediocre team.
Mediocre team, and I think he's just by the stats alone, that the only, what his arm is not going to get him anywhere.
Right.
Like, like I say, the 20 touchdowns is on through the air. That's the anomaly, not the 8. It's the 20.
I don't know about that, though. He was floating around that same number for 3 years.
Every time we look at it, I know, but that's what I'm saying. So we're looking at it like, okay, when he plays the game, he's going to get you 1 touchdown through the air. He may get lucky and get you 2. Yeah. Like, it's not like he's giving you 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns through the, stuff like that. It's literally 1 touchdown, an interception, 2 on the ground. 1 touchdown, no interception, 1 on the ground. Like, you see what I'm saying? So the true anomaly is him getting touchdowns through the air. Like, he's going to beat some defenses on the ground. He's going to do it with his legs. But as we know, the NFL is once you get on the scouting report, they will take what you think you do well,
right,
and destroy. So this is where we had the problems with the Brett Hundleys and DeShone Kizers and guys that could move. Fuck, Marcus Mariota, these guys, and that's who he truly sounds like to me more than anything. He sounds closer to Marcus Mariota. And as we say, Marcus Mariota, his arm ain't getting him shit. His legs has kept him a job.
Yeah. So to me, my comparison for him, I wouldn't say anything outlandish like Michael Vick, because he's not. I will say though that Michael Vick did not have the best stats in college. He obviously had some very big plays at Virginia Tech, but if you go back and look at his actual stat line, it's not mind-blowing stats. But he was a great athlete. He did a great job in Atlanta, did a great job in Philadelphia. So I'm not saying anything disrespectful about him. But he's not Lamar Jackson either. But I do believe he could be a Marcus Mariota, which would obviously not be what we want. Again, I'm a Hendon Hooker guy. I want Hendon Hooker. But if we can't get Hendon Hooker and we end up drafting Malik Cunningham, I wouldn't be upset by it, but I would be a little curious about where he goes. And just in general, I'm curious about where he goes. Because, again, he's somebody that you're not hearing anything about. So when I'm talking about him, am I talking about him as a Lions draft pick? A little bit. But I'm also just in general curious why a guy with 12,000 offensive yards and over 100 touchdowns in 3 years is not getting talked about. And it very well could be what Bobby was saying. 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, that ain't shit. I get that.
He threw for 75 yards against Clemson.
Right. But that's also Clemson against Louisville.
So,
Bobby, if I put you out there,
what did he throw against Air Force? Here's the question. Okay. So what did he throw against Air Force?
Oh, I don't know. That was from 2021. But Bobby's talking about last season. But my thing
yeah. You told me to ignore it last season. I can't, man. This shit's so whack.
I'm not ignoring it, but what I am saying is
nuts, man.
Bobby, if I put you out there against Clemson and you've got Toledo's very best Pop Warner squad, you are probably going to throw for 75 yards.
He can't beat Toledo.
He can't beat Toledo.
He can't beat Toledo. You gotta pick somebody else.
But
you can't. Hey, listen. Hey, look. You got to be careful picking on Appalachian State. We found that out.
Hey, Appalachian State, that was a great game. That was a great game.
I think he's just an extreme project, man. And wouldn't be worth my time, to be honest.
Yeah. I want to say, to me, like I said, if people know, this is the one thing that we do on our show very well, is that we talk about guys that, like I say, the mainstream media may not be talking about. Now, if y'all see in a couple of days that all of a sudden people are talking about Malik Cunningham, then y'all can believe what we've been telling y'all, that
He
this
ain't no
is what
punk
happened.
though.
Somebody's
He ain't no
watching
punk
our
though.
show.
He ain't out. He ain't out there. He ain't out there looking like a rag doll or none of that stuff. He ain't no punk though. You know what I mean? He a real football player, but I don't think he's no quarterback.
Right,
I
like
don't
you said,
say
but
that.
that me, I cannot see that guy going first, second, third, especially, when you've got some of the other guys who have better resumes,
Mhm.
that you be like, yeah, nah, dog, I can't do that one.
And to kind of put a bow on Malik Cunningham, that's again another reason why I wanted to bring him up on this show, is just because I'm
Yeah.
curious to see where does he go? Who takes that project?
Right.
And I'm just looking at the stat box. I'm not really watching the game, so
I get
I
that.
just
I get that. And listen, there's no hate on my end for what you're saying, because what you're saying is what a lot of other people will say too.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. But again, I'm curious to see where he goes. But I'm also a little bit like, if what Bobby is saying, if what Nate is saying is how all these NFL GMs feel,
Mhm.
how, and I hesitate to say this, how stupid is he going to feel for shitting on that USFL opportunity?
Well, again, that's one of the things where impromptu and being caught off guard.
Yeah.
You don't have a prepared response because you didn't even know nothing about it.
But now he can't play for them though, because they start this weekend.
Well, I mean, at the end of
he should have played for.
Well, and I guess that's kind of my point. Like I feel like the USFL, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but the USFL, in my opinion, fucked over a lot of these college kids, because they went to the Senior Bowl, they went to all these other all-star games, and they looked around, and with their own eyes, they said, here's all these kids that are not going to get drafted. So we're going to put them in a pool of players. We're going to do this impromptu college player draft. And I say impromptu because I didn't hear shit about it before it actually happened.
Hell, this is the age of social media. Right. How do you not know yourself that you've been drafted?
Right.
Like,
and then we're going to go to these kids and we're going to say, listen, we drafted you. We want you to take this opportunity, knowing full well, if you take that opportunity, you're not going to even be allowed to be in the NFL draft. So in my opinion, that was a shady fucking thing that the USFL did.
It's a bullshit.
But they want to get the clout and say, look, we were able to draft guys that were going to be in the NFL. That's what they want. They want that clout because they're in a battle with the XFL. But again, that's a different show entirely. But for me, I'm curious to see where Malik goes. And if you hear about Malik from anybody else, you heard it here first. With that, let's wrap this thing up by, again, reminding you that we will be having a live show for you coming up on night one of the NFL draft. We're going to be giving away money. We're going to be giving away prizes. We're going to be having a great time, and we hope that you will join us for that, because it's going to be a long one, and we don't want to be lonely. That's right.
Exactly. I'm lonely.
And hopefully you enjoyed this YouTube live. It makes my life easier, because as soon as this thing ends, I get to go to bed. Yeah. So
I think it went well.
You sound like a cyborg right now, my friend.
A cyborg, or I'm sorry to say it. No, I'd say it off the air.
All right. Well, hey, for Nate Rucker, for Bobby Bless, for Reggie Funches, who is not here with us, but I know he's with us in spirit, for the On the Hunt podcast, we love you. We appreciate you. And we hope you have yourself a good night. Gentlemen, this video is going to end as soon as I hit end meeting. So I want to say good night to you guys as well. And hey, we'll be with you next week. Maybe